Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss maritime boundary of India. So before going into that particular topic, we will see what is coastline. So what is coastline? Coastline is an area where land meets the ocean or sea. That means, look at this line. This line. So this is a coastline. It is here a land is present. So at this point, ocean or sea is meeting. So that is what we call it as coastline or shoreline. Shoreline. That means I'm writing it here. Okay. It is an area where land meets ocean or sea. So this is coastline. We call it as shoreline. Okay. So then what is maritime boundary? So we have already discussed how much coastline India is having. That is, India is having 7,516 kilometers coastline. That includes this entire mainland of India, and also includes the islands. Okay, all these islands, Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar and other islands which are located almost everywhere in the Bay of Bengal and also the Arabian Sea. Okay, so if you look at only mainland, how much coastline we have? 6,100 kilometers coastline we are having. Okay, so then what is maritime boundary? So maritime boundary is generally measured from this coast. What exactly that point? That is low water baseline. Okay, so it is from a baseline where low water mark is present. That means if you observe any sea coast, you may find one high tide, another low tide. So at the low tide, you will come across one point where water meets land. So from that location, that maritime boundary extends up to 12 nautical miles. 12 nautical miles. Okay. So generally, we calculate on land with kilometers and also miles. But here, when we talk about water, okay, we generally measure the length with nautical miles. So what is the actual measure of nautical mile? That means how many meters are there in 1 kilometer? 1000 meters are there. Okay, 1000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer. But in nautical mile, it is 1852 meters is equal to 1 nautical mile. NAUTICAL CAL, nautical mile. Okay. 1 nautical mile is equal to 1852 meters. That means 1.852 kilometers. Okay. How many meters are there means? So, this is one territorial waters of any particular coastal country is having 12 nautical miles. Okay. So now we will see how do we come to a conclusion that this 12 nautical miles is our territorial waters. That means that is our maritime boundary. Actually, so many countries in the world, almost 150 countries and even more than that. So those countries which are having coastline met in the year 1982 and they discussed and they come to a conclusion that they framed one agreement. Okay, they decided on one particular matter. What is that? They have discussed about how to use the living and non-living resources under ocean or sea. What are living resources? What are non-living resources? Living resources means generally you come across fishes, prawns, and some animals which are present in the ocean or sea. And you may come across many minerals like petroleum, natural gas, magnesium nodules, like that many are there. So all these non-living resources and living resources. So generally, if you take the entire earth, land area is just 21%. If you take 100% as a, if you take the entire earth, if you consider it as 100%, how much water is present on the earth? Almost 71% of our earth is covered by water. Okay, so that much water is there. So how to decide a boundary? Because if it is a land, we can easily say that we can put a mark that yeah, you should not enter into this our region. But in case of this ocean or sea, how can we decide a boundary? That's why many countries in the world, they came together, they discussed and they concluded one agreement. What is that agreement? That agreement is United Nations, I'm writing good, okay, Convention on the Law of the Sea. Okay, so I'm going to write it again. Okay, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. So this is an agreement. So in that agreement, they clearly mentioned that if at all any kind of criminal activity or some civil activity, if it is, that means if you look at our Hyderabad or some other Delhi, generally we come across a red light, green light. That means if you are coming across one red light, that means you have to stop. You should not cross that red light. The same way, here they framed some framework. Okay, some established one framework. That framework clearly mentions that from the coast, okay, this territory, that means maritime boundary, would extend up to 12 nautical miles. They clearly mentioned, not only for India, for every country. Okay, so suppose this area is a little inside, okay, that means it is protruded out, it is deep inside. That means from here it is 12 kilometers, from here also it is 12 kilometers. Okay, that is what we call territorial waters, that is maritime boundary of a country. So after this, how do you use that? How can you decide that whether it is this area belongs to any other country or that belongs to India? But here, from this 12th nautical mile up to 200 nautical miles, okay, that does not belong to India, but India can utilize resources, that means any mineral or fishes, prawns, even like gold, which is present under sea or ocean, can be, that belongs to India. Okay, no other country can explore and exploit those minerals, and even they cannot even do any kind of marine and maritime activities. That means they cannot bring their ships, okay, into these areas without proper permission. That means even if suppose China came into these waters, but they cannot take this petroleum from that water because that belongs to India. Okay, so that belongs to India. Like that, every country has this right. Okay, so suppose take this Andaman and Nicobar area. So even Andaman and Nicobar belongs to India. That means from Andaman, this up to 12 nautical miles, this part we call it as territorial waters of India. Okay, and up to 200 nautical miles, that is, we named it as, that means according to this agreement, that is exclusive economic zone of that particular country. That means this zone, this from 12 nautical miles to up to 200 nautical miles, this entire region we call it as exclusive economic zone. Economic zone of India. Okay, because I am talking about India here. Otherwise, if you go to South China Sea, there so many countries are there. Many countries are claiming their exclusive economic zone because that area has got so many minerals. That's why there is a dispute among those countries because China started claiming that entire region means maximum area of exclusive economic zone of South China Sea. Here we are talking about Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. So this is all about maritime boundary. So if you take this maritime boundaries, look at Sri Lanka, and extreme down we have got another country, that is Maldives. So here we have, this is the last point, okay, of India. What is that point? Indira Point. After that, there is no India. So that is the southernmost tip of India. Okay, but if you take the mainland, southernmost tip of India is located in Kanyakumari. Kanyakumari. That point is also known as Cape Comorin. Okay, this point is known as Cape Comorin. This is located in Kanyakumari. Kanyakumari. This is the southernmost tip of the mainland. This is the mainland. So, this is mainland. Then what about our islands? So, if you are going to include mainland as well as islands, our southernmost tip of India is located in the Andaman and Nicobar group of islands, especially in the Nicobar group, that is Great. So, the southernmost tip, I'll show you this. Okay, southernmost tip is Great Nicobar Island. Southernmost tip is located in the Great Nicobar Island. What is that southernmost tip? That is Indira Point. Indira Point. After tsunami, this point also submerged because there is a lighthouse. If you look at the present pictures in Google, you come across that point, but that lighthouse is little bit submerged in the water after tsunami. Otherwise, before tsunami, it was on the land. Okay, so it was on the land, but now it is partially submerged. Okay, at present. This is about southernmost tip of India. Southernmost tip of India, that is Indira Point. And if you take only mainland, that is Cape Comorin, that is located in Kanyakumari. Okay, so that is the tip where water from three regions are coming together and meeting. So we can say that this is Indian Ocean, this is Arabian Sea, and this one is Bay of Bengal, like that. Okay, so this normally we consider it as like three seas are meeting. I mean, three water bodies are meeting at that particular point.